Hey guys, in this YouTube video, I will be showing you how to check for duplicates in your database. We're going to be using Google Sheets and a couple of flow control modules. This is a super simple automation and should only take you a couple of minutes. Ideally, you don't want to have any duplicates in your databases. This is particular to a lead list that you're curating. I like to sell growth systems. They are the most profitable automation systems that I feel like you can build. So this is for that case, but if you're building any sort of database and you run the risk of having duplicates, this YouTube video is for you. So it's going to be very straightforward. I'll build it out for you and let's get right into it. Here's the automation. It's 4 steps. You can see we have our Google Sheets, our array aggregator, and our iterator. Now, I highly recommend that if you guys don't know about this already, you go to make.com, or excuse me, you go to ChatGPT and then you look up the make.com GPT assistant. It's very helpful, but I wouldn't take what their output is exactly, just because GPT can always provide inconsistent data, and they're just trying to satisfy you with their answer. But nonetheless, this is what helped me figure this out. Full transparency, I've been making automations for less than 6 months, but it has been a very profitable skill. So if I can share this skill with anybody that's thinking about starting their journey or wants to learn, then please join me and I will share everything that I know. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to show you guys the database. And this is our database. So we've scraped, for this client in particular, they wanted surgeons. So we used keywords that they provided and Apify to scrape LinkedIn profiles. And I was able to condense that list down into the institution name, specialty, all that good stuff. But because there was the risk of running into duplicates, I made sure to prevent duplicates coming into the list in the first place by grouping any repeats with your array aggregator. So in the original automation that scraped this data and qualified these leads, because this isn't from Apify directly, this is from an automation that takes the Apify lead list and then qualifies this person as a surgeon. In that automation that I'm talking about, I ensured that there was no way duplicates can get through. And the way that you do that is using the array aggregator. So this array aggregator module will group bundles by a specific variable. In this case, you want to group it by a unique variable. So because the lead list provided different fields of information, one thing that I could be sure was unique was the LinkedIn profile, because that's a specific URL and that isn't going to change, at least not in my case. Now, if I try to group the leads by name, that might be a problem, because if there might be some repeats, it could be Dr. John Jones or it could be John Jones MD. And I don't think that this array aggregator would pick that up. And so be sure that whatever you're looking to group your repeats by, it has to be a unique variable that will be the same if there was a repeat no matter what. In this case, it's LinkedIn profiles for me. So once again, you ideally don't want to have any repeats, and you want to make sure that in your automation, you're filtering out the possibility of repeats. Usually it's going to be your array aggregator that does this. You group it by a certain variable. In that case, it would be the LinkedIn URL for me. Now, because in this automation that I'm showing you, or excuse me, because in the way that I was servicing this client, there was a need for me to go through multiple lead lists. And therefore, just in case there was a chance that a lead did slip by, on the final back end of this whole thing, I created this very simple automation to check for duplicates. And so that's what this does. It's the same concept. What's happening is the Google Sheets search rows module is going through every single row, and anything that has the same LinkedIn URL, because I've mapped the LinkedIn URL in this group by field, that's going to get grouped up. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take the first three here, and then notice how I created a duplicate column. So this is specific for the automation on the that we run on the back end to check for duplicates. But notice how I copied the first, how many is it? 5 or 6, 7. I copied the first 7 in this lead list and I put them at the bottom. So what's going to happen is this automation should detect those 7 duplicate leads. Now, I played around with finding out a way to identify duplicates and having them be batch deleted or deleted one at a time. But because the Google Sheets, like specifically Google Sheets, delete a row module can only happen one at a time, it messes up with identifying the next row number. So, for example, if it identifies a duplicate in row 1 and 3, so it deletes row 1, then row 3 now becomes row 2. And the module moves so fast, it'll queue up deleting row 3, but row 3 is now row 2. And so you'll be deleting a lead that isn't a duplicate. So I recommend that you just avoid having a duplicate in the first place by putting the correct filters in place. And then to be even more careful or to be thorough, running an automation like this on the back end if you feel like you need to. So let me connect this sheet. This is a sample set of data I curated just for this video. So it's down here. And then it's sheet 1. Perfect. So in this case, the filters that will have no filters, because we want it to go through all of the rows. Yeah, we don't need any additional filtering. And so in order for me to identify which row is a duplicate, I want to select the row number as an aggregated field because that's what's going to give me that information. It's going to give me back that information in the output of the array aggregator. And then it's going to group by the J column, which is the LinkedIn URL. So, oh, you know what? It's got to be F actually. I removed some columns when I was curating this specifically for the video. So it's row F. Cool. So what we're going to do is, see, I'm going to unlink this real quick just so I can show you guys what I mean. So what's going to run. So what it's going to do is it's going to find all of the duplicates in this second module. So if we go down here, and if we go down to the output, we can see here that we have duplicates here. So it takes a bundle and puts everything into a single array. Now, because we're grouping this by our LinkedIn URL, it's identified 2 of the same LinkedIn URL, but put that in the same bundle, and it's provided 2 separate collections in the array. And in this case, it's row number 2 and row 63. So it's going to do the same for the other, I think it was 6 or 7. Yes, so, and then 7 should only have 1 array collection. Let me see. So there's 1 there, so maybe it's 8. Yeah. So as we can see, like I said, I collected the first 7 rows and I duplicated them at the end of the contact or lead sheet. But we should only have an equal amount of row numbers for unique leads. So how do I say this? So if we have 50 unique leads, but the Google Sheet shows 60, and that includes duplicates, if you run the array aggregator, you will have 50 bundles. So just to double check that, we have 58 bundles in total. You guys can see it down here. We have 58 bundles. And if I go to our lead list, oh, you know what? That's wrong. The only reason that's wrong is because some of these don't have the LinkedIn URL, but we still might have, yeah, see, some of these don't have the LinkedIn URL, so they're not going to get grouped in at all. But nonetheless, you guys get what I'm trying to say, hopefully. And so how do we identify the duplicates from there? So we're able to group the duplicates in these bundles, and now we know that there's 2 collections in a single array. So how do we get rid of them, and how do we ensure that we're deleting at least 1 row? Well, we're not going to be deleting them in this automation. We're going to be identifying them, so then you can go back and delete them, or you can figure out a way to delete them. You can batch delete. I've seen that in the Make community, but it seems, to me at least, it looks pretty complex. You have to do a couple of things to set up. If I do get around to that, I'll be more than happy to provide a tutorial. So moving forward, now that we have identified the duplicates in the iterator module, what we're going to do is we're going to type up this regex. So it's going to be slice parentheses array. So in other words, every single array is going to get sliced up, and anything greater than one collection will be identified. So if there's more than two collections, or excuse me, if there's only one collection in an array, that row number information will get passed through. But if there's more than one collection in a single array, that row number will get passed through, and that's how we're going to mark it. So this is the regex for that. Also, highly recommend you go to ChatGPT, look up this custom assistant, the make.com custom assistant. They'll provide a lot of good regex for you if you need it. So, and then lastly, what we'll do is we'll update a row, and then we just put that row number that comes out from the iterator. So see how we've mapped it here. Now let me make sure that I map this correctly, and then we'll run the whole thing and you guys will understand. So we'll do, actually I can't do that because of the array aggregator. So yeah, here we go. Sheet 1. And then the previous column was the iterator, and then the sliced regex will only output the row number. So that's why we mapped that here, right? And in this case, it's 63. It's not going to give us the first collection. It's giving us anything after the first collection, right? And then we're going to update the row. So we added a duplicate column, which is H. And then I would type in, I think I put it as yes. Yeah, or just duplicate, right? Cool. Bam. So now we can run this and let's see what happens. So if you guys remember, I took the first 7 leads in this Google Sheet. Hey guys, sorry, we got cut off for a second there. But I'm not sure where I left off, but let's go right back to where I think I left off. So if you remember, I took the first 7 leads or so and I copied them and pasted them at the bottom of this lead list. So if I run this automation, what should happen is any of the duplicates, and only a duplicate will get identified. Not both of them, but rather one of them. So we're going to run the automation. So I don't know what, we got cut off. I don't know where I left off, but let's go back to where I think I left off. So if you remember, I took the first 7 leads in this Google Sheet, and then I copied them and pasted them at the bottom just so we can see if this automation works. If this works correctly, what's going to happen is only the duplicates will get identified. So either the ones in the beginning or the ones at the end. I surmise that it's going to be the one at the end, and only the duplicates, not both of them, but only one of them. That way you will know if you have any duplicates in your lead list and or whatever list you're curating. And just a reminder, it needs to be grouped by a unique variable that will be consistent to that specific lead. So think of like an email, a phone number, LinkedIn URL in this case. Names can be tricky. Some people go by their title plus their name. So that's why I say probably a LinkedIn URL or an email. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the automation and let's see what happens. So I was able to identify 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 duplicates. So let's go back here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's actually more than what I was hoping for, and I wonder why. Oh, you know why, guys? This is why. So this is my mistake. So notice how I had it linked in by this column, the F column. So because I had this linked in by, or excuse me, grouped by the F column, the LinkedIn URL profiles, this automation picked up these blanks as duplicates. So that's a problem. So how do we avoid that? How do we avoid that? Well, one, you would probably know because if you're, thinking or you're present while you're making this, because sometimes I know it's easy to kind of just let your mind go on autopilot, then you'll quickly realize, oh, it's catching this duplicate because of the blanks. But how do we avoid that? Well, one thing we can do is we can set up a filter. And so what we would do is we'll do URL available, and then we would select the F column, and then we would put exists. So if nothing in that column exists, then it won't get passed on. So that's one way to go about it. And why don't we test it out? So what I'll do is I'll get rid of these. And then we'll run it one more time. So keep that in mind, guys. That's what I really like and hate about. Oh, I don't hate it, but that's what I really like about Make is it does exactly what you need it to do or what you tell it to do. So you got to be real particular and really be thinking a few steps ahead here. Make sure to scope out your projects, mind map it, and really plan ahead because things like that do happen. And sometimes, even though it might seem so obvious, it kind of goes over your head. So I'm going to run it one more time and let's see what happens. Perfect. So it was able to catch 7 duplicates, and that's exactly what I was expecting. As I was saying, notice how these blanks are no longer coming up as duplicate. And that's because, I mean, even though technically they are, when you group them by their column, they're blanks. They're all blanks, so they're the same. Having filters like that will prevent something like that happening. And here we go to the bottom, and as we expected, those duplicates were identified, and you have them in your lead list. So that is the automation, guys. I will be providing this automation in my Gumroad. Link is in my description. If you'd like to see more automations like this, hit me with the follow. And if you have any suggestions or you're looking to troubleshoot some automations, leave a comment down below. If you need to contact me, my email is also in my description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.